Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're working on another free pattern, and this free pattern is just amazing. There's so many options with the pattern that I have split this video into two. Today I am doing, the pattern is the Grow With Me pajamas from Ellie and Mac. The really cool thing about this is that you can use it for other things other than just PJs. Yes, and the really cool thing is that it's got the top, the bottoms, and then it also has a like a nightgown option, so it's a little dress basically. It's got like a placket, it's got like little ruffles, it's just got everything. So I'm going to do two, and then on this one we are doing the top with the pants. I'm doing the Grow With Me cuffs for the bottoms, but for the top, I'm going to actually hack the pattern and cut it to short sleeve, since my son doesn't love the long sleeves, so I figured we're just gonna go ahead and hack it. And the way that you do the cuffs for the sleeves is the same way that you do the cuffs for the legs, so I figured we'd be okay with that. This is gonna be the simple version, which is just a plain top, color block top, and pants with the elastic waistband. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got all my pieces already cut out, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put our bodices together. So we'll do our front and our back, and I'm going to show you by doing the front, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you the back real quickly and put that together, and then we'll move on to doing our sleeves and our neckband and then our pants. For the bodice, we're going to grab our... For the bodice, we're gonna grab either our front or our back bodice top. We're gonna fold it in half, and we're gonna end up doing this to both bodice, the front and the back. Especially if you're doing color blocking, obviously on both of them. I'm gonna mark my center. I like to do like a little snip on my bodice, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for my bodice bottom. Mark that center and kind of snip so I know where it is that I'm gonna mark it. I'm gonna put my bodice bottom face up on my board. There's that little mark. I'm gonna grab my bodice top, and I'm gonna put it right sides down, right on top, right sides together. And I'm gonna sew this seam right here to create one whole bodice front. And I'm gonna do the same thing for my back. All right, I'm gonna go over to my serger and sew both of them up. Once that's sewn together, I like to open it up and steam it up. Now, I said I was gonna do it on my serger, which I did, but if you don't have a serger, you can also do it on your sewing machine, and I would just use a stretch stitch on my sewing machine. So once it's sewn together, now you have one complete bodice. And here is my other one as well. And if you wanted to go ahead and top stitch, you can top stitch. I am not going to, but you can. And the good thing about top stitching too is that it makes that seam kind of lay flat down. That way it doesn't bother your child if they have sensitivity with seams or whatever. But I'm just gonna leave it. He hasn't really complained about them before. So now I'm gonna grab my panel. So this is my bodice back and this is my front. And I'm gonna put them right sides together, and I'm going to sew at the shoulders. So I'm gonna meet those shoulders together, and I'm gonna sew right up there really quickly at the shoulders. And then we're going to attach our sleeves. For our sleeves, I'm making short sleeves. And I know the pattern doesn't have a line to cut short sleeve. I just cut it where I thought was a short sleeve. I don't know if I cut it long enough or not, but I think it'll be fine no matter what. So then I'm gonna go ahead and also clip that half so I know exactly where my half of my sleeve is, and I'm gonna do it for both. Then I'm gonna grab my bodice, and I'm going to open it up where the arm side is, where that shoulder seam is right here, and here my other seams. Now, one thing that I like to do with this pattern sometimes, which I didn't do it this time because I thought I was gonna have enough blue to color block both the front and the back, but I didn't, is when I'm actually cutting out the pattern, if you wanna make a side that is just straight, there's no seam, if you're just using one fabric, you can grab your pattern pieces and overlap them 1/4 of an inch, because that's your seam allowance. You overlap them and you cut around the pattern with the pattern piece overlapped and it'll be one whole piece. And sometimes I like to do that too. Usually I would have done that for the back, but I thought that I was gonna have enough fabric to color block and I didn't. So now I'm gonna grab where that mark is right here on my sleeve and I'm gonna put it right on top where that shoulder seam is, right sides together. And I'm going to go and pin all the way around to the bottom of the sleeve cap thingy, the arm side. And I'm going to do the same going towards the other side, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other sleeve, and then we'll be sewing around that area. Let's go sew it. I love how simple it is to make this top. Once we've already sewn the sleeves on, all we're gonna do now is fold this side and right sides together, and we're going to get those sides together and pin all the way down and then sew them. Then we're gonna do our neckband and we are done with this top. Let's sew. Our top is almost done now. If you are doing your long sleeve with cuffs, the Grow With Me cuffs, you will attach those the same way that I will attach the leg cuffs when I do those. So I'll show you that and then you'll be able to attach those just the same way. Since I'm doing short sleeve, I'm just going to fold over 1/2 inch and hem that sleeve up, and I'm gonna do the same for both. So you can use a double needle, zigzag stitch, cover stitch to hem that sleeve. So let's move on, and also hem the bottom of our top. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about that. So again, double needle, zigzag stitch, and the reason why you need a zigzag stitch is because the fabric stretches. You need to have stretch on there too. Let's move on to our neckband. And what we're going to do is first we're gonna grab our neckband. We're gonna fold it wrong sides together. And I'm gonna give it a memory crease right down the middle. That way once we sew it together on the round, it'll be easy to fold back to half. I'm gonna open it up and I'm going to fold right sides together and I'm gonna sew that short seam right there. Seam has been sewn. I'm going to fold it back, wrong sides together, like where I folded and gave it that memory fold earlier. I'm gonna pin the back seam. And I am going to fold from the back seam all the way to the front and mark my front of my band. We are quartering our neckband. That way when we go to put it on, sew it onto our neck, we know exactly where those 1/2 and quarters are. That way we can pin it really, we can sew it on really nicely. I'm putting the front and the back together and I'm going to the sides. Okay. And the reason why I'm also putting pins there is because I'm gonna use them when I attach them to my bodice anyway. So I'm just gonna put them there for now. I'm gonna put that aside and grab my bodice. We're gonna quarter our bodice as well. So we're gonna match up our shoulders and go to the front. Then we're gonna match up our shoulders again and go to the back. And our shoulders are not our quarters. We gotta make sure we match up the front and the back and go to the one side. See, it's about 1/2 inch off for this size. And then again, meet together at the shoulders and go to the other side, maybe 3/4 inch. And now that my top is quartered, we're gonna grab our neckband and I'm gonna put it right side of the neckband to the right side of the fabric. I'm gonna start at the back and I'm gonna put that seam matching up to the back. So that seam is gonna be on the back. I'm going to go ahead and match all those quarter points to the quarter points I made on my neckband. And this is very important. Do not miss the quarters, because if you do, then you might end up with a wonky neckband. So this is important to have a good straight neckband. So now that our neckband is on, we're gonna go sew it and I'm gonna show you just how I do that. Time to sew that neckband. And what I like to do is I like to get it started a little bit, like get that needle in there. And if you're doing a zigzag stitch, also just get that needle down at the beginning. Then I'm gonna grab where my first quarter point is, and I'm going to pull my band and even it out. I like to use a couple fingers to grab right here, and then grab up here closer to the front, to the top. And then with this hand, I kind of guide it. And then I stop at that quarter point and then go to the next quarter point and even it out again. Make sure you're pulling, because obviously your neckband is going to be shorter than your bodice, your neck. So you want to make sure that it evens it out, because the neckband is going to pull it together. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going and go all the way around. All right, y'all, your top is basically done. How cute is this? I love it. Now for that serger tail, what I like to do is, well, if you're top stitching, you can catch it in your top stitch, but if you're not, I like to put it right over that serger seam right there, and then go into my sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch right on it, a zigzag stitch right over it, and then clip it after that. So we're gonna go ahead and put the top aside, and we're gonna work on our bottoms. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the bottoms, to the pants. And I'm gonna grab one of them. I'm gonna do it for both of them, but I'm just gonna show you with one right now. We're gonna fold it right sides together at the inseam, and we're going to sew those sides together. So I'm gonna pin all the way down. I'm gonna do the same for the other one. I'm gonna pin all the way down and sew that together. All right, let's sew. Once both of them are sewn, I'm gonna grab one of them and I'm gonna turn it inside out, like so. And I'm gonna grab the other one and I'm going to fit this pant leg right inside of it. Don't mind the background noises. My Pops is playing with his bone, so he doesn't understand. He just wants to have fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pin at the crotch area, that seam at the bottom, right sides together. And I'm going to go all the way up one side. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the other side. So I'm going all the way around right here. Okay, and then I'm going to show you what I'm doing in a minute. See that area right there? We're gonna go ahead and sew all the way around that area. So once it's been sewn together, we can go ahead and take that leg out and open it up. And you can see our pants are coming together. We're gonna work on our elastic. What I like to do with my elastic is I like to go ahead and measure my son's waist and then go by that waist measurement. I don't go by the measurement on the chart because I want it to fit him perfectly. So, but if you don't know the waist size, you can just do it by the measurement chart. But I just like to do it his measurements. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab it and overlap it at the end and just zigzag stitch it together to become one round elastic piece. Once my elastic has been stitched together, I'm going to also mark my quarters on my elastic. That way it'll be easier to fit onto my Grow With Me pants. So we're just doing the exact same thing we did. We folded in half, then we folded the front and the back together, and we found the sides. Now on our bottoms, we already have our front and back. We have the front and back seam. Then we just go to the sides, and that is where our quarters are. And obviously the higher rise is your back. So I'm gonna put my, where my seam is, right at that rise and pin it. And then I'm gonna go to those quarters and pin those quarters. After we pin those quarters, we're gonna head over to our sewing machine or serger and sew around the elastic to get it together with the elastic and the pant, stretching the elastic as we go to match our waistband, our waist. When I am sewing my elastic on, I am making sure to stretch so that it fits correctly. I am making sure that when I'm sewing it, my serger is not really cutting my elastic. It's just coming and encasing my elastic into my seam. And then also, I am making sure that it's all pulled so it doesn't kind of clamp in there all together. So I'm gonna finish. Once my elastic is sewn on, I'm going to just fold it down and we're going to just encase that elastic in there. This is some thick elastic right here. So you're just folding it down and encasing it. And I'm going to go back and top stitch that elastic down. You can do that on your sewing machine with a zigzag stitch or on a cover stitch if you have one. So I'm going to head over to my cover stitch. All right, so now our waistband of our pants is done. Top stitched it and it is completed. Now we're gonna go ahead and do our cuffs. If you want to not make it like a grow with me, you just want a regular hem cuffed, then you would have to add some length, add the length of the cuff. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our grow with me cuff piece, and I have 2 of them. And I'm going to fold it longwise, right sides together. Okay. And the reason why it is grow with me is because look at how long that cuff is. That is how long you could grow, because once we sew it together, you're gonna fold it and it's gonna be half of that. But then if you wanna fold it out, it will end up being double the size. So it'll be really cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin and sew. All right, so here they are. I'm going to go ahead and clip that. Okay, and then we're gonna fold them wrong sides together, as you can see right here. And I don't know why I said that's not how long they are. They're this long because I fold them together first, which is still a long way. So what we do is we fold the first time and we attach, and this is the length that it's gonna add. But when they're wearing it at first, when they don't need to grow with me, you fold this again. So that's why it's like a double fold. So it's a small cuff and then it gets longer as they grow. So once it's folded, you can quarter or half. I usually for a armband or cuff, I only have, I'm sorry, for a cuff or a arm cuff, I only half. I think it's enough because it's a small space. So I'm gonna clip it at half and put the pin on here and on the other side. And I'm gonna do the same for both. And then I'm gonna grab my pant leg and I'm going to attach. So I'm gonna grab my cuff and I'm going to fit it into my pant leg. So right sides together. And I'm going to match the seam. And I'm gonna match the other notch. So I'm gonna match the halves. I didn't notch the pant, I'm sorry. We're gonna grab the seam right here and we're gonna go to the side of the pant leg and mark the half of the pant leg as well. So that way we have that as well. And then when we go over to, I'm gonna do it to the other pant leg and then we'll go over to the sewing machine and, or sewing machine or serger and stretch as we go and sew it on the round. Let's sew. All right, so we are finished. Here's our top and our bottom. Ooh, how cute is this? And as you can see, the cuffs, this is how long they'll get. But if you want to fold them up so that way they're not too long right now, you fold them up as high as you want, and then as they grow you will fold them down, pull them down, and you have a few more inches of leg room. And same for the top, for the sleeves, if you added the cuffs. So I didn't, but if you added them, then that's how it will go. I hope you enjoyed this sewing tutorial. I'm gonna go over and hem my sleeves and my bodice, and I will be done, and I'll take some pictures for you so you can see how cute it looks on. Also check out the second part of this tutorial where I do the dress version, and I will add the placket and the little ruffle and all the cute little details that also are part of this wonderful pattern. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Comment, like, share, subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on any other videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.